Well, hello everyone. This is Jason Zeidema of the International Christian Maritime Association. I have the great privilege and pleasure to speak now with Natalie Shaw, who is the Director of Employment Affairs for the International Chamber of Shipping. In this very fluid and challenging time, the International Chamber of Shipping has been working hard to coordinate a response to the coronavirus crisis. And thank you so much, Natalie, for all your work and for taking these few minutes to speak with us. So a first question, what's the impact of the coronavirus on the maritime industry? And for those that might be less familiar with the maritime world, what are some of the key challenges to overcome that perhaps are not being reported on in the regular coronavirus coverage?
Well, thank you first of all for giving me the opportunity to talk to your constituents today. I think every person in the world at the moment is being impacted by the COVID-19 situation. We were obviously very mindful of the initial impact that it was having on China, and particularly for the shipping industry, because obviously a lot of goods come from around the world, come from China. So we were perhaps highlighted through some of the issues that were impacting on the shipping industry right as far back as the initial outbreak in Wuhan. But as over 95% of the world's goods are shipped by ships, it's really a major issue for us to be able to continue to try to make sure we get the food and necessary supplies of medicines to people who need them around the world on a timely basis. And it's our ship's crews who have the inevitable task of having to do that on a very effective basis. And we really, really appreciate their assistance at a time which is perhaps very, very difficult for them. We've heard of all the issues on the cruise ships. That's just one element, but we're also equally concerned for our crews who work on board cargo ships and who will be responsible for the delivery of goods and services in the coming months.
What has the International Chamber of Shipping been trying to achieve in these past weeks? I've been on a number of calls with you, and no doubt you've had many others trying to coordinate and get some things done. What are the outcomes of some of those conversations? What are the key challenges that you've been trying to deal with? And what are some of the challenges in the coming weeks that you think will need to be confronted?
Well, as the International Chamber of Shipping, our role is to liaise with the national ship owner associations in each of the countries to really identify what the key issues are in relation to the industry and trying to deal with them. But we also have interlocutors who we deal with, ICMA being one in relation to the welfare charities, the ITF being another in representing the seafarers and their issues, and we represent the employers' side. And on this particular issue, I think we're all very, very focused on trying to do the right thing for our seafarers. And the idea of these calls is really to try to get everybody who's involved in a strategic level together in one conversation to avoid duplication of effort and to prioritise what needs to be done quickly and when and by whom. And so that's the purpose of this. And really, we're working also with the three main UN agencies on this, the ILO, the IMO and the World Health Organization, to really flag up what the specific needs of our sector are and to ensure that seafarers' needs are taken into account at this very difficult time.
If it would be possible, can you name some of the sort of specifically, what are the 3-4 main challenges or issues, specific things that you're working on that have been really, really important to get work done on at this time?
Crew changes is perhaps the first one. We're very mindful that it's going to be difficult for a crew to be able to change ships at the moment, not because necessarily the ship owners don't want them to be able to leave the ships, but the practicalities of it. Over 98% of flights now have been cancelled around the world. So it's just physically impossible to get seafarers back to their home countries. Secondly, there's also quarantine issues when seafarers actually arrive in their home countries if they've been in a country which has had a problem with COVID-19. So that's another area we're looking at. We're also looking at concerns where seafarers may have found it difficult to get medical assistance as quickly as we would have liked from the port states. And certification issues as well for seafarers who are concerned that some of their documentation may expire during this particular difficult period. So that's just 4 examples of things we're working on, but we've actually got a plethora of things that we're trying to sort through at the moment, and we just beg everybody's indulgence to try and help us in this very difficult time.
And a final question, perhaps right on that point. Why is working together and information sharing so important at this time? Sometimes having all these groups with all these people can be a little bit cumbersome, but why is it so important to be on these calls with ITF, with governments, with international groups, with seafarers, welfare charities? Why is that working together and sharing the burden so important?
Well, to me, I always remember the game we used to play when I was a kid called Chinese Whispers. I speak to somebody, somebody speaks to the next person. By the time the information gets to the 7th or 8th person, the actual communication flow is confused. So by having everybody who needs to be involved as stakeholders in one set of calls, we're able to get everybody to hear the same message and agree on a common way forward. So although it may seem cumbersome, it actually expedites the process.
Well, Natalie Shaw, thank you so much for your time on this call, and we wish you all the best, and we want to support you in whatever way we can. Thank you for staying in touch.
And can I just also express my thanks to the ICMA community for all your continued hard work and support for our seafarers. They really are the special ones in all of this, and we don't take their workload lightly.